Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Gnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. It's usually about an hour long, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. And if you want all of TLDR, that's an hour's worth of Chris Pirillo, where I geek out about just everything, just about anything that might be something that would be interesting for me to talk about. You can become a patron. Head over to chrispirillo.com for more information. A lot of people say that I don't talk about tech anymore, but that's actually very wrong. They are very incorrect. They don't listen, really, because I talk tech every weekday. You see, that's just for the patrons. These are some of them behind me with emoji. It's not emoji day, though, sadly. It can't be emoji day every day. But, every once in a while, I talk tech with everybody, not just the patrons. And today is an example. Someone asked me if I was ever going to do an iPad Pro review. Now, if you've watched TLDR any degree of time, you've noticed that I hold up my iPad Pro or set it on the day's Pirillo picks just about every day, or every weekday since I got the iPad Pro. I totally spaced on doing a review. I apologize. I thought I did an iPad Pro review. I didn't. This is totally my bad. So I'm going to correct that today for everybody. 3 things I like about the iPad Pro. And then tomorrow, I'm going to do the 3 things that I don't like about the iPad Pro. I'm still, of course, going to get accused of being human. I mean, biased, like everybody. Anybody who accuses you of being biased they're correct. Because that's you. You bring your experiences and opinions to the table. If you don't have experiences and opinions, you're not really sharing anything useful, which I hope you're going to do, or not do. I hope you're going to be friendly, because that's the thing about technology. Some people treat it like a religion, and that's the thing. They get angry. I'm like, hey, dude, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, okay. It doesn't bother me either way. After I do the iPad Pro, 3 things that I like today. I'm going to be doing the day's Pirillo picks. I'm very excited for the Pirillo picks, probably more than the iPad Pro review. Gonna let you know about that. And then after that, I'll be answering questions from the community of patrons, and I do that every weekday. And then the tech news stuff and the geek news stuff at the end. So the iPad Pro. I'm going to hold it up. This is big. I mean, if it's larger than your head, okay, or face, the circumference of your face, it's big. This is Pro. I'm not going to say I'm a pro, but I play one on the internet with the iPad Pro. I've had just about every iPad, going back to the first iPad. And I never really minded the iPad. I kind of liked the iPad, but it has certainly evolved over the years, not just in terms of speed and responsiveness, or sometimes the lack thereof, but I got to get into that tomorrow. Got to save the stuff for what I don't like for tomorrow. I've never had an iPad screen this big. Is that good? Yeah, actually, I think that's one of the things that I like. I like the fact that it is a large screen. I mean, it is large. And I moved from an iPad Air 2 to the iPad Pro, and it was before that the iPad Air, the first one, although they didn't call it the iPad Air 1. They should go back and call it that, though. And then before that, I think it was just iPad, and then iPad 2, or I don't know. I've gotten pretty much every iPad. Not everyone, though. I have not really gone after a lot of the later minis. As much as I like the idea of the mini, in terms of its responsiveness with iOS and how it's being developed, I kind of find it a laggard. So I like the screen. That's one of the reasons I like the iPad Pro. I like the screen. I also like the fact that it has a better experience or performance. It provides better performance for iOS 9 in its current state. And the iPad Pro, iPad Air 2. Dude, you try managing like how many iPads have there been? The iPad Air 2 was nice. And I thought it was great with iOS 8, and then I put iOS 9 on it, and wow, dropped frames edition. Whoa! I mean, it was... If you're still using the iPad Air 2, man, and you're suffering through the performance of iOS 9, hey, more power to you. That's completely up to you. But in terms of fluidity, I found that the iPad Air 2 was a laggard. And this is previous gen, compared to the iPad Pro. The iPad Pro has had the most fluid iPad experience in terms of fluidity and performance compared to other iPads. And I would attribute that not necessarily to the way the software was developed, more because this thing is it's fast. It's got more RAM, so it's more potentially more responsive. The web pages don't refresh as frequently as they would have without more RAM, and the CPU is ample. And it's amped up, even it being ample. I got to reserve a lot of my heavy criticism for the iPad Pro till tomorrow. But I find, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it, is because it is a better iOS 9 performer compared to the iPad Air 2. You can read between the lines. I'm not going to beat that dead horse today. You can tune in tomorrow and hear me beat the dead horse. So, I also, want to talk about the longevity of the iPad, because I think that's one of the benefits of the iPad Pro. We've had an iPad for, as long as I can remember, honestly. And there was a time in our lives when we didn't have the iPad. Can you imagine that time in our lives? I can. I remember a time when we didn't have, internet. Okay, so it's been a good experience for the most part, or compared to the other experiences that we might have with tablets or touchscreen devices. It's been good, it's been solid, but largely because of developer support. So one of the things that I think is a pro for the iPad Pro is the fact that there are so many applications available. And I've got to be careful about you mentioning this, because there's also a major weakness with the iPad Pro, while at the same time having it be its strength. So there's a lot of software that will work. It will work with the iPad Pro. The software works. It's effectively like a smaller iPad, just bigger. And so I like that. I like the fact that I could go and get an iPad app, and for the most part, I wouldn't say that it is ugly. It doesn't look horrible. The older apps for the iPad are apps that were designed for the iPad screen or resolution scale up well. So the older apps scale up well. I think that's fair. It's a generic way of saying what I'm trying to say, that I appreciate that all the software continues to work, or most of the software that I've tried with the iPad Pro. It's ample. I mean, honestly, and have you seen me use the Apple Pencil? The answer is no. Why? Because I don't really use styluses, and this is it. I'm good. This is my one thing. This is the finger I use. I know other people use other fingers, which are now emoji. One finger at least. But that's my stylus. I'm not an artist. I'm not an illustrator. I don't take notes specifically on touchscreen devices. So I'm not going to spend even $100, even $20 on an Apple Pencil. It's not me. That's not for me. Other people who do, love it. It's not me. I haven't tested it. I also did not want to get the iPad Pro keyboard, knowing full well that, iPads have been compatible with Bluetooth keyboards for a while, and that Apple's finally designed a keyboard case of sorts with the iPad Pro. I find it's, how do I say this? This is not, okay. I almost want to reserve this for tomorrow because it's a dislike, but I will tell you why I didn't get the keyboard. Because I think Apple... How do I say this? I like the fact that Apple's made a keyboard case, cover, whatever the hell they're calling it. But the design is absolutely beyond horrific. Okay, is that fair? Can I say that? That's why. So I appreciate that it exists, but I think Apple is. I don't know where they're taking their design cues from anymore. I wouldn't spend somebody else's money on it. I wouldn't. Or even if I had one, I wouldn't want to use it because it's just fugly. I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't look good. And no better way to cheapen a not so inexpensive product that works well enough by slapping something on it that just kind of makes it not as elegant as it is without it. Now, that being said, I do have the smart cover. It looks fine. It's okay. If in case I forget, and again, I'm talking about the iPad, the things that I like about the iPad. So I like the fact that they make this. I like the fact that they make it. But in case I forget tomorrow, one of the things that I don't like about this is the material that they use, the silicone. I don't like that because it attracts crud and hair and debris, and it's just not. I don't like that. It's one of the reasons I don't like the cases that Apple's making with this material. I mean, on the inside, it's fine. It's this nice little felt and everything. Save a lot of my dislikes for tomorrow. So I'm going to stick with, I like the fact that Apple makes it. Because otherwise, I would not be able to stand it up. Now, some people might wonder, well, Chris, don't you miss, in the iPad Pro, don't you miss the fact that, you don't have 3D Touch like you do in the iPhone 6S or the 6S Plus? No, I think 3D Touch on an iPad is a stupid idea. And anybody who claims that's a shortcoming hasn't really thought it through. Okay, here. Let me illustrate why I think 3D Touch is a bad idea on the iPad Pro. Oh, did you see? I was pushing harder. That's what you do. You deep press, but that's what I was doing. I'm going to do it again. I was trying to 3D touch it, and it wasn't working there. Okay, so here's another positive. I'll give you another positive here. It's durable. I don't think it's scratched or scuffed or anything. Oh, I take that back. Well, these are scratches or scuffs that are. See, I don't know what that is. It's dirt or something. I hardly use this thing. I slide it around, but dang. Oh, okay. It's coming off with a little bit of spit. I don't know what was on my thumb. I almost said finger. Is this a finger? Is the thumb a finger? We have 5 fingers, so the thumb is officially a finger. I'm calling it now. If it has an emoji, it's a finger. If the finger does not have an emoji, then it's not a finger. Does the ring finger have an emoji? See here, Pinky doesn't have an emoji, like a dedicated emoji. I love emoji. In fact, emoji looks good on the iPad Pro because it's big. It's everything is bigger. Okay, maybe not everything. You have a larger surface area on which to play. That's fair. That's fair. So I will tell you that I'm happy enough with it. I'm satisfied with it. It is the best iOS 9 experience that one can get on an iPad today. That's the number one, if not only reason I stick with the iPad Pro. And again, I wouldn't say that's necessarily something that is, praise as much as it is just brutal honesty. And that is me. I'm brutally honest. And if you didn't think that was the case, wait until you see tomorrow's TLDR. Is it done?
I messed it up.
Oh.
I think.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll try it.
I did a cup of water, like you said.
Okay, yeah. We're talking about today's Pirillo picks, folks.
And that's
Hi,
what
baby.
happened.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Jedi loves the iPad Pro, but I think she likes today's Pirillo picks a little more. This? Do you want that? She loves seeing FaceTime on here. It's big. It's wonderful for FaceTime. It's huge. That what? You would rather have this? Sorry, she'd rather have the Star Wars thing, folks. I'm not gonna, this is her life. It's her choice. She'd rather have Star Wars than technology that's going to be outdated in a year's time. Tomorrow, the 3 things that I don't like, which I'll probably float back and forth. I'm just giving you cogent, clear reasons. I didn't turn out a review immediately. I've been using this for a while. I use it every day. You see it in TLDR every day. Let's move on to Pirillo picks and then answer some questions from our community, as I do every weekday. Mostly tech questions, and then talk about today's tech and geek news. Shall we, Jedi? Okay. Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from ChrisPirillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and support me at the same time, you can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through ChrisPirillo.com.